Keep me send an officer to my house.
Look how they do you. You don't even got no reason. You don't even got no reason. You just want to put a nigga out. You wake up and want to put a nigga out. Who does it? Who wake up and want to put their son out? You ain't my. You're not mine. You wake up.
You're not mine.
Y'all,
You're not mine.
I'm not my son. But you wake up.
You're not my son.
You wake up and
you're not my fucking son. So you finna get out of here.
Wake up. You wanna wake up and put me out? You wanna wake up and put me out?
As you see in the beginning clip of this video, this is an issue that is constantly being swept under the rug amongst our people, and that's toxic mothers. Too often you hear the phrase of deadbeat fathers and men not stepping up and men leaving their children and their families behind. We understand that, but we have an underlying issue that is too often prevalent amongst our people, and that is these single mothers out here who are very toxic and who are ill prepared and properly and effectively raising children on their own. You saw an opening clip of how she was putting this boy's clothes out and saying, "You ain't my son, you ain't my son." Listen, a lot of our children, unfortunately, aren't being conceived out of love. If this child was conceived out of love, there's no way in hell this mother would have this type of negative attitude towards her son. And this is the underlying problem we have going on amongst our people. Too many of these women out here are running around sexually promiscuous and just having sex with every Tom, Dick, and Harry there is, and then they're conceiving children that they know for a fact that they are unprepared to properly raise and take care of. And so when they become older, they become increasingly frustrated because the child hasn't developed into whatever they wanted that child to be, and also because of the fact that they probably aren't getting the proper help or assistance that they need, which is why I'm a strong proponent against single mothers.
Out of here! Bitch, I can't disrespect you, ho! I'm your mama! Fuck up out of here!
That don't got nothing to do with nothing. That ain't got nothing to do with
nothing.
That ain't got nothing to do with
Get up out of here, dog.
Fuck. You a disrespectful ass lady. I don't care how, on God, you disrespectfully fuck. But you my mama, cuz. Who the fuck wake up and put somebody out? The fuck? You lame, cuz. On God, like I said, bro, the police gonna have to come put me out. Cause on God, I ain't leave. The fuck? You want something to pop out? I ain't gonna.
As you see in this clip, the disrespect and the insults continue to increase further and further. But you also notice that she's threatening to call the police on her son. So the reason why the young man is disrespectful is because he sees this from the mother giving it to him every single day. And far too often, a lot of these children, especially in the hood, they grow up in these unstable environments. They grow up in a matriarchal household, primarily with angry and vindictive women. And so these women that are angry and vindictive, guess what they do? Because the relationship with the child's father didn't work, they lash on those insecurities and their anger until the children grow up in households led by females. And then they carry on the feminine characteristics that their mother possessed and how they raised them. Listen, too many of these young men aren't raised in male-dominant household environments where they can get true guidance, leadership, and direction from a male's point of view. And what happens when the child becomes of age, becomes of adolescence, and he no longer really listens to the mother? They call the same policeman, the same system that is hell-bent on enslaving so-called black men by keeping them in that prison industrial complex system. She's working for the same system that is hell-bent on destroying her child. That's toxicity at us. Too many mothers like her are displaying this type of pessimistic behavior on an everyday basis.
Alright, make sure you get all your shit up out of here, bro.
Alright, bro, you ain't gotta hit me.
Don't
hit me, bro.
Bitch, I ain't hit you.
On God, you did.
Bitch, I ain't hit you, ho.
You did.
If I did, bitch, I ain't hit you, ho.
You did, cuz. You ain't gotta hit me though, bro. You ain't gotta hit me. Look, she want me to fight. She be wanting me to fight her so bad. What you gonna do? I ain't finna touch you.
As you see in this clip, she's getting violent, getting very confrontational, getting all of her son's face. wanting her son to hit her so she can call the police and have a legitimate excuse to put her son in jail. Too many of these single mothers do this, you know what I'm saying? They threaten their kids with violence, get all up in their kids' face. Then if the kid defends itself against their poor piss mother, what does the mother do? I'ma call the police. So mothers are mentally and psychologically damaged to the point that they shouldn't have never had children. But once they have these children, instead of maturing and becoming an adult so that they can have the mental and psychological capacity into properly raising a child, they continue on that toxic behavior, pass it down to the children. Then when the children lash out, now they want to continue this process of want to have their children in the system. But they'll be the first one to beg you, my child innocent, my child didn't do nothing wrong, free my baby. Bullshit.
But she barely be here. She barely be here, cuz. I don't give a fuck, bro. You on God, you left us for a nigga anyway. I really don't give two fucks. On God, I don't. Fuck. You left your household to stay with another nigga, man. You better go on my motherfucking face.
Come on here. Put it on. Put it on for that, bitch. Put it on for that, ho. Put it on for that.
Number one problem that alters a relationship between children and parents is the parents, in this case the single mother, leaving their kids back to defend for themselves so that she can go be with another nigga. Many of these single mothers have failed in relationships with their children, so they're desperately seeking to do anything they can in order to have another relationship with a strange person, not knowing that in most cases, according to the CDC statistics, that many of these children that are abused, raped, and violated are normally raped, abused, and violated by the quote-unquote stepdad or the quote-unquote boyfriend. She want to put him out, but she rarely at the house herself. Why? Because she out here running the streets, being the slower that she is, want to get dicked down by these niggas. Mothers that do that, little do you know, you're contributing to the further abandonment and decimation of your children's psyche and emotional needs, because you choose to be selfish and look after yourself first and don't give a damn about your kids. The moment you conceive children or you're carrying an unborn seed inside of your womb, your life no longer revolves around you. Your life has permanently changed forever. Why? Because you have to be responsible into not only bringing another life into this world, but you have to be responsible into taking care of that another life that you brought into this world. In other words, your children's lives are your primary focus. Not you running these streets trying to get dicked down by all these fuck niggas out there.
You ain't never taking that. So I'm lying. I'm lying on you. I'm lying on you. Oh, you want to get live for sure? Get live for sure. Let's get live. Let them see it. Huh? Tell live how you stole my money. Huh? Every time I turn around, my money gone live. Huh? Every time when I wash your clothes, my car's in his car, on my grandbabies. What the fuck I gotta lie on you?
On my dad, I'm free to grade you line. I'm free to grade you line. I ain't never tell you
this clip. Confrontational, aggressive attitude. This is how a lot of these boys be out here in the world nowadays, very emotional, hyper-masculine. This is where hypermasculinity comes from. It doesn't come from a man displaying his true masculine nature. No, hypermasculinity comes from men being overly aggressive by being hyper-emotional. Men are supposed to think logically by nature. We're not supposed to respond to every single incident emotional. You can tell that this boy is truly emotional. If you didn't notice it by the beginning of the clip, then you out of touch with reality. These single mothers out here with these type of attitudes, they create the mechanism that breeds violence into many of our young people. But society doesn't want you to point that out because of the simple fact they're trying to place all of the blame and ills of society on the so-called black man or the so-called black father. Listen, the problem with single mothers is that single mothers think because they have to play the roles of both mother and father, they think that they can truly raise a child. The problem with that is there are certain characteristics and certain teaching mechanisms from a natural standpoint that women are not equipped with, that they cannot relate to or teach a child, especially your boy. And this is what women fail to understand. Just because your child can grow up and go to school and graduate and work a good job, he's still lacking true quality instincts of a man. Because if he doesn't look at himself as a leader, as a builder, as a producer on his own, then he's not displaying true attributes of manhood. And in this case, it's obvious that this boy is emotionally unstable. Why? Because his mother is emotionally unstable.
Get the fuck
Oh God.
out of here!
Don't stab me with
I
that.
swear on you guys.
Alright, man. Oh, my mama, watch this. You wanna stab me? Oh God, watch. You wanna stab me? You wanna stab me, right? You already know what's finna go down. Man, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, ho.
I don't care.
You gon' care.
I've been dead.
You gon' care.
I've been dead.
You gon' care.
I've been dead to you.
dead.
I've been
Stay away
dead to you,
from me.
nigga. I've been dead to you, nigga.
So
I've
bad.
been dead to you, nigga.
Bad, nigga. Bad.
I've been dead to
Get
you.
your shit.
Yeah.
Get
I've
your
been dead to you.
stuff.
I've been dead to you, nigga. Fuck you talking about? You ain't no mama, nigga.
Now we see the violence occurring based off this clip. The son supposedly gets stabbed, even though you don't really see it in the video. He runs out of the house. But notice the message that he says as he left the house. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead to you. I've been dead to you. Unfortunately, many of these children, especially these teenagers, have such deep-seated wounds of trauma, neglect, and hurt, emotionally and psychologically, that internally they feel as though they're not worth being alive. They have so much hurt and pain inside of them that for them, it's better off for them to be dead than to continue to live in a very hostile environment such as their mother's home. And the unfortunate thing about this, let's say if that young boy gets murdered out there in the streets, what is this crazy mother gonna do? Oh my God, they killed my baby. Pray for my baby. And then start up a motherfucking GoFundMe to pay for the boy's funeral. A lot of you single mothers out there are creating death and destruction by poisoning your child's mind by the behaviors you display on an everyday basis in the home. You showing hate towards your child because your life miserable? How dare you? And then when your child becomes a fallen victim to the streets, now you want to cry and play victim as if you truly loved your child. No, the truth needs to be explained in videos such as this. Many of these single mothers out here are playing a deadly role in why our children act the way they do in our society. And instead of us continuing to be silent about this issue, we have to confront the deadly patterns of what we see every single day. This needs to be called out. And this needs to be further addressed.
That's the life I live. That's been the life I've been living. I don't give a fuck. Oh God. I'm lame. I'm lame cause y'all niggas don't go through shit. I'm lame cause y'all niggas don't go through shit. I ain't fuck with a nigga talking about fuck with y'all talking about too. Oh God.
And finally, this young man concludes by saying this is the life he lives. This is what he has to deal with every single day. Unfortunately, our young people deal in very toxic and poisonous environments. We're dealing with toxic mothers. Toxic mothers that be all on the internet, had their kid in the background in the bathroom, you know, taking these selfies with their asses all pointed out and shit. if a lot of you toxic mothers out there would do your job and properly love and care for your children, and not only that, have at least a good positive male figure in the life of that child, then many of the problems that we as so-called black people deal with will further decrease. We're too busy saying, stop the violence, put the guns down, stop killing our kids. But one of the most effective, or one of the most powerful ways we're killing our children is the environment that our children are raised in. And that is inside of the home. Get rid of the toxic environment by getting rid of these deadbeat dads. And start bringing the issue to let these toxic single mothers know that they need to change up the bullshit that they on. If you're a toxic mother out there, fuck your feelings. My sympathy is for that child. Why? Because that child is lost. And that child is crying out for help. And you know what we, as a larger whole of society, going to do? Since we don't give two damns about so-called black men, we will ignore him. Why? Because many of us are toxic ourselves. Get it together. And stop producing and bringing children in this world that you know for a fact that you are not prepared for to take care of. 100.
When the boy is separated from his father and he's getting no love from his mother, he's growing up as a male emasculated. He's growing up as a male emasculated. When a boy is separated from his father and he's getting no love from his mother, he's growing up as a male emasculated. He's growing up as a male emasculated.